Our next story is a comeback that proves it takes a village no matter what your age. Doctors left Ramona Pierson to die, but thanks to a very specific group of strangers, she made it through. Before we chat with her, here is her story.
My routines were just get up, run forever, go to work, run at lunch, and then after work I'd run as well.
The year is 1984, and Ramona Pierson is a 21-year-old Marine who is in the best shape of her life. But everything changes one night in April.
Grabbed this dog that I had adopted because she liked to run with me. And as I stepped off the curb, a car had run through a red light. My left leg got caught up in the wheel well, spun me around. The bumper or something hit my throat, and my dog was caught underneath the car, and she was killed instantly. I absolutely passed out. The only thing I remember is just feeling like a grenade went off in my mouth, and looking down and just seeing my life's blood pouring out of me. When I got to the hospital, the doctor reduced my body temperature, put me in ice, and put me into a drug-induced coma.
Ramona remains in a coma for 18 months.
You get into these lighter levels of consciousness, and I started dreaming about eating. And I had dreams that my dog was starving to death, and so it motivated me. I felt this sense of urgency to wake up, to feed my dog.
Ramona is a shell of her former self.
So when I woke up, I was down to 64 pounds, and I just was in miserable shape. I couldn't speak, so it was hard for people to even recognize I had come out of the coma. And then over time, they became frustrated, felt like I was probably not going to survive. And ultimately, after several months, I was put into a nursing home.
Ramona was just 22 years old when she arrived at the nursing home. To learn more about her astonishing comeback, please welcome to the show, Ramona Pierson.
Yes!
Hi, everybody. I love being here with you.
We are honored.
We love that you are here. Ramona, we have to get into your story. You were 22 when you were sent to a senior home. You have to talk to us, talk to our audience about what kind of shape that you were in when you arrived.
By that time, I was probably somewhere between 68 and 72 pounds. I probably looked like E.T. just landed there. I was bald. I couldn't walk. I couldn't see. I couldn't speak. I had catastrophic injuries that were partially or not even fixed at that time. My face was still a mess. And so the seniors had to really wrap around me. And I think at that time, they kept thinking I was a 12-year-old boy because I was so thin and fragile. They had a lot of work to do.
Wow. So this is a running theme here, that something changes and becomes a catalyst for a comeback. What did the seniors there specifically think when they saw you, as you said? How did they help you recover? The seniors saved you.
Yeah, so they all stepped in. Once they heard my history from the senior citizen manager, they assessed my needs and started matching my needs with the skills in the senior citizens there. So you have former teachers, a mayor, and other kinds of folks. So many of them helped me learn, practice, especially the men. They played cuss word Scrabble with me at night.
That's awful.
To encourage me to speak again, because learning to speak again is very difficult when they rebuild your mouth and neck and throat. And I had to learn Braille, and so a lot of the seniors went to the library, ordered books on how to teach someone to read Braille. So some of the former teachers did that, and some of them had Alzheimer's, so my learning was quite repetitive at times.
Wow.
You never know where your comeback community is going to come from, and the fact that you were at the senior home for nearly 3 years and that was your community is just amazingly unexpected. But when did you realize you were making a comeback?
I had, overall, I had about 115 surgeries. So they put my face back together and gave me teeth and I had to learn to use my other hand because I had been left-handed, had to learn to be right-handed, had to learn to walk, and every obstacle that came around, like, oh, I actually do need to learn Braille so that I can organize my life and be successful again. I went to the Braille Institute, and the seniors did cookie sales to raise funds to get me a train ticket to go to LA to do that. And then I had to go get a seeing eye dog to help me get across streets because the seniors didn't know how to train me. You know, you imagine I had PTSD and no one had experience being blind. So how do you teach a blind person to cross the street? Their solution was just stick a cane out, and if it gets hit by a car, don't cross the street. So the seniors really helped me get back on my feet. But when I started, what they really taught me was to learn how to learn. And once I had that skill, I became very hungry for re-educating myself. And that's a skill I continue to have. And as you see, technology continues to change, and being a person that can upskill themselves and continuously learn and evolve their skills can keep changing their careers. So that became a core value that I brought with me from the senior citizens.
Wow.
Learn how to learn. Yeah. I mean, that's a key, y'all. That is a key. You mentioned that you were without sight for some time. How did you regain your sight back?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I was blind almost 10 years and had rebuilt a career, was educated, and knew how to get around as a blind person and be successful as a blind person. But the problem I had was I feared getting my sight back. So when I was offered an exploratory or an experimental surgery to give me a new cornea, and at that time the technology was not as advanced as today, and they had to remove a hematoma from my brain, I delayed that decision. And also I didn't want to give up my seeing eye dog. And when she got sick about a year later, I opted in for the surgery so I could take care of her.
Oh my gosh.
And then again, I had to learn how to be a sighted person again and read and write and navigate again, as with an eye. I only have one eye.
Ramona, you are such an inspiration. You're such a warrior. It also, your whole story teaches us how vital community is. Yeah. And that also, and I think we can all learn from you, that perhaps we should all be visiting our senior homes more often. Ramona, thank you for sharing your remarkable story with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow.